Okay, well, good evening, greetings, and salutations, passionate bliss. I'm back again. I wanted to talk to you. I've been meaning to talk to you for a couple of days, but I'm glad I waited because it looks like more evidence has come to light about the whole Kirk Franklin scenario situation. Okay, I did hear some video footage. I heard two different ones. The first one was where he was cursing at his son. People were criticizing him for being a man of God and speaking this way and how he represented. People were calling him abusive to his son. He went on television and gave a formal apology, which is always a good thing to acknowledge that you're wrong and to go ahead and give a formal apology when you are wrong. So I give him a lot of credit for that. And then also, there was a later footage where it was supposedly, allegedly, his son speaking with others, unaware that he was being recorded, and he responded when someone started playing his father, Kirk Franklin's music. He says, "Oh, that's nice. You're playing my abuser's music now." He said, you're playing my molester's music, to be specific. He said molester. He used the word, the M word. And so this is a case where you have to, a lot of facts are at play. And I'm very reserved in my judgment on things like this. Now, first and foremost, I would always like to be the first to say that I believe the victim. I don't want to, call a victim a liar or to not give them the benefit of the doubt because they're often afraid to come forward because they don't know if they're going to be believed or not, or they feel that people won't believe them because of who they're accusing. And so this took place in two parts. So I wanted to look at it in two parts. The first part, where I was initially going to make the video about Kirk Franklin, was where his son posted to social media, wrong move number one, a phone call that he recorded between himself and his father, wrong move number two. And then he put it on the social media platform, wrong move number three. To, I guess, for what intent? That's the biggest question that you have when someone does that. What is your intent? What were you trying to prove? You have to wonder about that person and their motives when they do something like that. Okay. So number one, his son posts a video of him, of a recording of himself and his father talking, allegedly. And on that video, Kirk Franklin, who is a pastor and who does have a huge ministry and a huge worldwide following, he was recorded as he called his son, number one, a bitch ass. He called him a motherfucker. He called him po ass. He told him he was going to break his skinny neck for disrespecting him, if he ever disrespected him. Okay, so those are words that came out of his mouth. Now, as a parent of adult children, I had a certain level of sympathy for him on that level because, number one, is it possible that a parent could be pushed there by a child, that a child could actually take you there where you calling them that? Absolutely. I would like to say I've never spoken that way to my children, but I cannot say that because this was when they were adults. As children, never. But you have to remember, this is not a child he is talking to. He is talking to a 33-year-old child of his son, his firstborn. 33 years old. So this isn't a baby that he's verbally abusing. Okay. And number one, the conversation started off where he was already cursing. We don't know what was said prior to that cursing because at some point, during that little rant, he said, "I'll break your neck if you disrespect me like that again." So evidently there was some disrespect that took place that he perceived as disrespect. And so he responded with disrespect. So a lot of times it's very difficult, no matter who you are, not to respond in kind. When someone is ugly to you or they speak nasty to you, it's not very, it takes a whole lot for you to not speak back to them in that same way. So number one, Kirk already admitted without realizing that he was being recorded. Hi, Lily. Good evening. Welcome aboard. You can always come up and talk if you would like. But so number one, there was already some disrespect that took place, apparently. And so he responded in kind. Is that good? No. But not many people are able to not do the same when someone does it to you, no matter who it is, especially if it's your child, because they, of all people, should not be disrespecting you in the first place. So a lot of parents who have adult children could probably sympathize with him on that. And we all have said things we regret. We will go back and we would like to apologize. We wish we could take it back. We can't always. And so, and it's okay because Kirk did come back and apologize for what he said. And so, everybody has their bad moments. Can you imagine if there was a tape recorder going every time you said something you weren't supposed to be saying to your kid or to anybody else? Okay. Some of us would have quite a few postings on social media. If we were being taped, without our knowledge, we'd have quite a few postings. Not me personally, but some of us would. So I did kind of sympathize with him, on that level. Because sometimes if you're not there to, deal with them in person, sometimes words is the way that you use to deal with it. Okay. So, also, there was an issue that this is a child that they already had a long history of being estranged. The son said that he didn't even know where they lived. Um, you know, they've been in counseling multiple times. So they obviously already know that there's a damaged family dynamic going on. And a lot of times, there's a reason why people say keep family business in the house. There's a reason why people say, house business is house business, because every family has their own different dynamics. There are some families, that's how they speak to each other on a regular. Okay. There's mothers that call their daughters bitches every day, and so we can't really judge somebody's family dynamics if we don't know what their dynamic usually is. But as we found out later on, through different things in the media, this is somebody who they've had years of an estranged relationship. He was so cut off from the family that he doesn't know where they live, and so and as time went on, we found out this person had an extensive drug use history. Okay. And so that brings me on to the second recording. The second recording is one in where the son, whose name is Carrion, who is Kirk Franklin's firstborn, had a conversation recorded that he was unaware of. He was having an argument with two different people, and one of the persons, to try to be nasty, started playing Kirk Franklin's music. And he says, "Oh, okay, so you're going to be that nasty. You're going to go that far. You're going to play my molester's music." And so that went viral as well. And that was, supposedly an accusation against Kirk Franklin that he had molested his son. Okay. And so, again, I want to always believe the, victim, and the person who's making the accusation. I always want to believe the victim and support them, so they feel, so that the stigma of coming forward goes away or gets less with time. However, this is somebody who has a years and years of drug abuse under their belt. When you're dealing, I do have experience with people who have abused drugs for quite a long time. And when you're dealing with someone who is an extensive history of drug user, their mind gets affected to a great degree. They don't think well. They don't reason well. They don't rationalize or function well. He's homeless. He's homeless right now, which shows how well he functions in society. He's homeless at the time of that recording. Anyway, he was in a hostel. Okay, so people like that, it's not unusual for them when they're on drugs to hallucinate. Okay, to imagine conversations took place that never occurred, to imagine events took place that never occurred. I've known people who have been, abusing alcohol. They had dreams that they thought were real. And because I was actually there and saw them have the dream and knew that it was a dream, and there are things that I've had persons who were, extensive alcohol abusers tell me things that I said that I never said, that other people said that they never said, that I know that those people didn't say because I know those people, and so because I know people like that who have had extensive alcohol or drug abuse histories, I know that you cannot believe everything they say. You cannot believe every accusation they make. Some of the stuff that they accuse people of is made up 100%. Okay, so I'm not one who's going to be quick to run and judge Kirk Franklin and say, yes, he molested his son. Okay, because there are plenty of people who have been falsely accused of molestation. There are people who have been falsely accused of rape. There have been people who are falsely accused of any number of crimes. So I'm not gonna, as much as I would like to always believe the victim, I'm not gonna rush up and say, ooh, Kirk Franklin is a molester. This boy told on him and he wasn't even aware he was being recorded. That doesn't mean that's the case, because that boy may actually in his mind believe he was molested by his father. He may have been molested, but we don't know what actually took place. And you can't know for sure when there's someone who has been on drugs for a long time tells you a story, because they are not always honest, and it's not always intentionally. They may actually think that it happened to them. So him taking a lie detector test, I heard someone say, oh, well, Kirk needs to take a lie detector test and his son needs to take a lie detector test. That doesn't guarantee anything. If he believes what he's saying is true, he may actually believe that his father molested him and he never did. That is quite possible. Quite possible, because their minds have been altered by those chemicals that they have been taking. So him taking a lie detector test, he's going to pass it because he believes it's true. There's no deception. So so him taking a lie detector test, Kirk might be able to benefit himself by taking a lie detector test, but that's very iffy, because those tests are not reliable and they can easily be manipulated, not only by the subject but also by the person performing the test. So I probably wouldn't take one, just because they're so unreliable and they can be manipulated. But and this is the thing about molesters. So this is why I'm willing to say let's wait. Because if another person comes forward and said, you know what, Kirk, first of all, the son never came forward with the accusation. This is Oops, what's going on here? This is a recording that was made against his will. You know, he could have been just mouthing off trying to make that person feel bad and made that up. The son has not come forward and said my father molested me. Okay, so we can't say that that's actually a confession by the son. He didn't say that, and we don't know the circumstances under which he was talking. Okay, so this is what I would need in order to believe or go ahead and say yes, Kirk Franklin is a child molester. Shame on Kirk, off with his head. In order for me to say that, I'm going to need another victim to come forward, because this is the thing: child molesters don't stop. They don't stop unless they are stopped by someone else, by society, by a person. They don't stop unless they are stopped. So I'm going to need another victim to come forward and say, yeah, Kirk touched me too. I'm going to need a couple of them to come forward, because, you know, that it always happens because they don't stop. You know, once they're successful and they enjoy that fetish and they've had that satisfaction, they won't stop. So somebody else is going to need to come forward for me to believe that this boy was molested. First of all, the boy needs to come forward himself. And he's not even a boy, he's 33. Okay, so he needs to come forward, number one, and say, yes, it's true, I was molested by him. And another victim's going to need for me to come. I'm going to think it's just a troubled kid talking about his dad, okay, until somebody else come forward. Okay, just like with T.I. and Tiny. Okay, they can have like over 30 victims now. Bill Cosby, he had, you know, that's when I believed it, when Bill Cosby got up to 30 victims, okay? Because people like that who get away with abuse, they don't stop. They keep doing it, okay? And so I'm going to need victim number 2 to come on. You know, the Bible says 2 witnesses is good to go. So I'm good with 2 witnesses too. If 2 people come forward and say, yeah, Kirk touched me, then yeah, I'm gonna try to believe that and give it some credibility. Because right now we got a long history of troubled family relationships, coupled with a long history of drug abuse, coupled with he didn't even actually come forward and formally make the complaint himself, you know. And we're assuming that that's his voice. That's alleged as well. You know, I kind of think it is, because his name was called earlier in the recording. So, you know, so I'm gonna need a little bit more before I'm willing to throw Kirk all the way up under the bus, because any parent could, you know, go there, be taking care by the kid and cuss the kid out. Okay, I'm not innocent of it. Okay, so yeah, I'm not gonna hang him up for that. I'm gonna leave a little bit more. So the jury's still out for me on that one. Okay, what do you think? You know, comment below. Lily, did you want to come up and speak? I did see someone else in the chat as well. Nobody came up. So if that's the case, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it at that. And I'm going to wish you all sweet dreams. Wait to find them all real, and I will keep you posted. And you keep me posted, okay? Good evening. See you next time.